Okay, we're recording. All right, let's start. And hopefully this will work. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Woke Wild Women's podcast. I am Bethany Evans, and this is my co-host.
I'm Roxanne Sailors. We're having a great Friday here.
Yes, we are. We're having a little bit of a technical difficulty, but hopefully everything will get worked out. Okay, so if this is the first time you're watching or listening, please check out our introduction video, and then Roxanne and I also have interviews that you can check out to see how we met and how we got to this point. But today we are interviewing someone whom I absolutely adore and I just met. Her name is Erin Prewitt. Erin, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
So Erin and I just connected within the last couple of months through Instagram. It was probably your assistant who found me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're great stalkers.
They stalked me on Instagram, apparently.
Totally.
Which I absolutely welcome. And she asked me to do a retreat where I came and did tarot card readings for the women who were on that retreat. And I had such an amazing experience. Got some clients of my own out of it, actually. So yeah, it was a really cool experience.
They loved you. They're like, oh, Bethany. And these are not like people, like, this is a retreat. You need expendable income to come. And you were in the group of the mystics. And when, at the end, we, like, had it go, we asked for feedback. And they're like, Bethany, you know when you're like, oh, I saw Madonna. And it's like, you know, you like, I saw Sally Mae. Okay. But you're like, no, I saw Madonna. They're like, Bethany. And I was like, oh, just how they're saying it. So you killed it. You did great. So I'm not surprised that they wanted to, stalk you for themselves.
Good. Yeah. Two of them came to my moon circle that I had on Wednesday night.
Yay.
And then one of them just signed up to work with me. So I'm really excited to work with her. Yeah.
Great.
So I thank you so much for that opportunity. Like, seriously, I was so grateful. And as soon as you asked me to do it, I knew I wanted to do it. I was like, and you were, of course, you were like, oh, let me do a reading to make sure we vibe. And I was like, you got to get this. Like, you got to do it. I was like, please let her like me.
So funny, because I was like, I hate to say no. And I'm like,
Yeah.
So I was like, please, God, let me like her, because I
Yeah.
want to be like, hey, I just don't feel like we're jamming. It's just, it was funny because my intuition was clear that, yeah, you've got skills. But I wanted a personality. And I think everyone, who's watching, there's like, it's like, oh, I want to go to my doctor and I want them to be knowledgeable and informed and intelligent and skilled, but I want to also like them because it's a very vulnerable thing to do. Yeah. And I think for you, I wanted to make sure the personality lined up with the skills. Yeah. And when I met you, I was like, okay, yeah, we're good. Yeah, this works. And I got a reading out of it. So I was like, yeah, even score. That's great.
Which is my favorite thing to do for people. So that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Erin is an intuitive. I love how you market yourself as an intuitive. And so could you go into a little bit more of that? And then, because you also do coaching.
Yes.
So I don't know if you call yourself an intuitive coach or just an intuitive. Tell us about your journey as both of those things.
Well, my background actually originally wanted to be a therapist, but I talked too much. And that became very evident right before I went to apply for master's school, to get my master's degree. So I did a quick assessment, and then I was like, well, maybe I should go into nonprofit work. So I did that for a few years and I struggled. And then I kind of fell into training and development inside of the world of a nonprofit, and I loved it. And since I, graduated with my undergraduate degree in psychology to my mid-30s, almost late 30s, I worked in training and development and consulting inside of the nonprofit world and government agencies. In 2014, my husband passed, and then I made a big shift. Because inside of working in the nonprofit world, I started getting into mindfulness and connecting, because I used to work with companies that had 100 people would have to agree on $3 million. Where are we going to put these funds? You put $3 million in the middle of a room, you're going to get people who are have a lot of opinions about it. And I used mindfulness to stay connected to hearing people, to really being present. But then all of a sudden I was like, I got senses, I could sense people. And for a long time I said I could profile people. I profile really well. And then I was like, maybe it's something else. And I started really diving into the mystical, intuitive world and different working from, I went from, I dipped in everything. I could tell you so many things I've done, but I started building my own clientele just accidentally, like happenstance. And when my husband died, I remember taking a leave of absence from my day job. But what didn't need to be, for me, I didn't need to take an absence from my clients privately that I worked with. That was the most easeful thing. And then I was like, this really smells, sounds, and feels like life purpose. Like I would do this even though 2 hours ago I'm bawling in a puddle on the ground, and now I'm coaching this woman about her career intuitively, and I was like, this is where I need to go. So it took me a few months, but eventually I said, you know what, I'm going to quit my job, I'm going to resign, and I'm going to go full-time into being intuitive. At that point, people were like, what are you? I was like, a psychic, medium? I don't even know what I am. Like I named to hang on myself, like signage to say, this is who I am. Yeah. Over 5 years later, what I found the closest to call myself is an intuitive coach. Yeah. Intuitive because I read people. I sense it. I feel it. We're going to talk about later how it comes to me. And then coach because I am highly trained in facilitating conversations. I'm very trained in coaching people to maneuver through whatever it is they need to maneuver through. And I'm a straight talker. Like no bullshit's coming out of me. So people need to know that I'm not like a psychic that's, or intuitive that goes, so this is what I sense. I'm like, look, your soul's screaming, dump him. Like I'm just telling you, not tomorrow, today, dump him.
Yeah.
And you will feel the relief you're looking for. So they have to know that they're getting both with me, and that's where I blended both. Though both worlds are like, life coaches are like, why do you say intuitive? And intuitives, I was at Lilydale, which is this medium, this amazing place to be with, where I did work this summer, and the mediums would look at me like, well, why are you saying coach? And I was like, oh, hell, I'm screwed no matter what I do. I'm just going to keep it until something better comes along. And so for about 4 years, I've called myself an intuitive coach.
Yeah. And it's funny. I was thinking, I hope this isn't like offensive to anybody. It's kind of like being biracial, where like, you fit into both of these worlds, yet nobody can relate to you because you're both. You know what I mean? Like, and you're like, that's weird.
Yeah. And I think weaving them together and not letting someone take one or the other from you.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, I think it's brilliant. And I think the first time we spoke and you were telling me about that, I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what I'm experiencing right now. Because I too come from I've been in school for like many years, and I know how to talk to people and be a professional. And now here I am like doing this intuitive work. And like, I feel like I don't fit into one or the other, it's like, and so it's like, we're creating our own little, like, I don't know, niche.
Totally. And I heard this, I read this amazing article that really continue to free me up. It was about therapists. My original background is I worked with a lot of therapists with getting their doctorate to postdoc, pre-doctoral students, and just helping them in that process. And so when I read this article, it talked about like, hey, as therapists, we have got to have more tools. And one of the areas we haven't dove into is the spiritual, mystical arena. And if we actually use those tools, I think mindfulness is the link, right? Like breathing, getting present. But it really, if you take that bridge of mindfulness, you're going to land in our world. Like it's just inevitable. And I think that more and more industries are waking up to it. It doesn't always make sense, but they're like, well, how do I kind of use some of those skills inside of the mystical world?
Yeah, I think it's really important. I think, and I think we were talking about that when you interviewed me about how the world of clinical, I feel like talk therapy is opening up to that, because they're realizing they need more tools for people who are coming to them and they're like, I'm spiritual, or I'm, I can feel these things, but I don't understand it, kind of thing. I think that's what when people go to like talk to a coach or a therapist or a consultant or whoever, that's what they're experiencing. It's like, give me the words or like the tools to help me, because I don't understand what I'm going through,
Yeah. And I have a couple clients, I refuse to take them unless they went to an energy therapist. I said, you need to go to someone who does energy healing along with me. Though I'm Reiki trained, which is energy healing, I don't always do it. It's not my forte. It's just something I utilize.
Yeah.
And I will not work with them because when I read them, I'm like, woo, you've got scarring, energy scarring. Like, we need to, like, work through this, and I'll work with you. So we need to, like, do both. It's like a physical therapist. Like, hey, before you go to surgery, let's try seeing if we can a little bit.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah. I also see a place for that kind of coaching in our community. I think, even 50 years ago, people would go to their pastor or their priest. And I come from that background where those people were trained to speak to people from that spiritual space, from whatever their, dogma is, but to help them navigate through that. And as people are gravitating away from organized religion, it's opening up this need for people to still talk about spiritual things and get that coaching, get that guidance without the dogma. So I think there's an opportunity for all of us.
Yeah. And I think sorry, Roxanne. I think that's where I am a little tricky for some, because some people that come out of the religious kind of structure, it's here's the equation to get to heaven, right? Here's the equation to be a good human. And I will challenge them. And I think a lot of us spiritual teachers and coaches do is it's more of I call it a buffet. Like, here's your options, but you don't have to do anything. You have free choice, and you're a good human no matter what. You might have relief, you might have purpose, you might have a sense of peace if you look at these options, but I'm not going to tell you you're going to hell. I'm not going to tell you you're bad and wrong if you don't. Yeah. And some people don't want to go to me because that's too much freedom. It's like, just tell me the equation, Erin. I'm like, there is no equation.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is I think people are used to looking outside of themselves for that structure, those rules.
Yeah.
If I don't get told what to do, then I'm left to my own devices. I'm going to fuck my life up, basically. Totally.
Yeah,
and so I'm scared like that. Fear is ingrained, I think, in everybody. Mm-hmm. And just growing up, it's just natural, a condition of our society. And I think that's where you're right. People get afraid with too much freedom. And even I know that I struggled with that too. And I still, it's difficult when the fear is greater than the ability to create that for yourself.
Totally.
Okay, so how would you define being an intuitive?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would define being an intuitive. I think everyone is an intuitive, right? It's kind of like it's just a skill whether you tap into it, right? Like, everyone has the ability to, I'm trying to think of something that would be for any able-bodied person, but let's say we all have skill sets to learn another language. We have skill sets to ride a bike. We have skill sets to learn how to draw. This ability, like, right, the spectrum of abilities might be like, oh, that's Picasso. Oh, no, that's Erin drawing. Oh, that's cute. There's my, but for me, an intuitive is, I think it's more of a commitment to, it's almost like a promise to myself to be guided by my own sense of what is right for me, my own intuition, my own gut feeling, my own, whatever I hear, whatever I sense. So an intuitive could be like if you were like, hey, I am a doctor, right? Like, I could say that it's like a degreed thing, or it's a profession, or it's I identify as, but for me, it's more of a relationship with. Mm-hmm. Then, so to the point where I work for my intuition, but I also I will say things like, so like I had a client this week and I said, I hear what you're saying, but my intuition is screaming this. And I trust that before anything that comes out of your mouth. And I just have to tell you that that's the truth. I would go on dates and say, listen, I believe myself before I believe any of you. So if you can't be with someone that says, yeah, it just doesn't land for me, I hear you, but it's not my gut. Then I'm not your person. Like, we could just end this now. And I think that for me, it's the relationship with.
Yeah. I love that. I've never heard it described in that way, and that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
It's so beautiful.
But I think too, it also speaks to, it's a relationship you got to work at, right?
Yes.
It's not like
relationship is work, you know.
I'm done. I arrived. I mean, I am the messiest human. I have foibles. I have issues. I just have access to peace of mind and emotional peace that maybe other people don't, because I believe me.
Yes.
And I go in for answers, not go out for answers. Now, it doesn't mean I don't go out for answers sometimes, but I know how to find that inner peace is going in.
Right. And I think that's why people do go out for answers, because we haven't developed the trust that skill set is strong enough, you know? So like, even though I know I am very intuitive, I've been conditioned to believe that what I feel is not correct, you know? Yeah. So I still have to go out for answers just to like almost get not validation, but confirmation from somebody else whom I trust to say, this is what I'm feeling. What do you see? What do you think? You know, and I think that's really what it is. It's trusting. It's the trust with yourself, and then also trusting that when you're attempting to get that confirmation outside of you, that you're trusting the source you're going to. And that's where we can't blindly trust. Today we brought up like organized religion. That's, I think, the disconnect is sometimes we hand our power over to blindly trust the people, institutions, whatever, that don't necessarily have our best interest or the full story of who we are or what we're going through in mind.
Yeah.
Did you want to say something, Roxanne? Oh, okay. I thought you did.
There's so many things. I want to say so many things, but we're keeping it moving. Okay. I think the only thing that that clued in for me is I love your description about intuition. For me, it's an energy. It's out there. It is always, and it's just opening yourself and being not even disciplined, but like you said, mindful of being aware that you have access to that energy. And then once you get used to tapping into it, that's where you develop your skills. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, so let's talk a little bit more about, you already went into how you got to this point, you know, of being an intuitive coach, but are there any pivotal moments in your life that kind of accelerated your gifts as an intuitive?
What accelerate? Well, my death of my husband. I think one of the things that happened was I stalked a poor man that I worked with. So I worked in a company, like I was like middle, upper management, and there was someone that was clearly several levels below me if you look at the organizational chart, right? And I was like, he's got skills. And I stalked him for a year. I mean, he would just be like, hi, Erin. I'd show up to his cubicle like, I know you have skills. When are you going to admit it? And I don't know what had me do it. But eventually he said, okay, I can see your aura. Your aura looks like this. You have gypsy aura. You're very feminine, da-da-da. And I was like, oh, what else you got? Like, I knew he had. Well, what was funny is he was, and I don't know if you're familiar with Santeria. So Santeria is actually, from what I understand, I could be butchering this, but it's a spiritual practice, and that also works with a little bit of the dark arts, in my opinion. And it came from Africa, moved through South America, and he's considered Babalao, which is very like top ranking. And eventually he allowed me into his classes, and I was like, what the heck?
Allowed you into it?
Catholic. So I was like, what? You know, like, oh, chickens get killed. Oh, like I was like, oh, I'm in like, in how I would say it then was voodoo. Okay, I'm in voodoo world. But what I will always be grateful for him is when I got thrown into something that I was like so not used to, and I trust my gut, and my gut was okay with it. Two was he said I had skills. He was like, Erin, you have skills. Because the first time he said, all right, we're going to do, I thought it was like mindfulness and practice and breathing. And then he's like, Erin, what is your partner to the left thinking? And I turned to him and I said, what are you thinking? And he goes, no, Erin, I want you to tap into what he's thinking. And I was like, how do you do that? And then he's like, you need to use your intuition. And out of like 7 things I said, 1 thing was right. And I was like, and he took it like I might go away finally. And I was like, oh no, I need to get better at this. That was my launch, right? So bizarre. But then I went into mindfulness practices. I went into meditation. I then also did Vision Quest. I worked with a woman who's really uses a lot of she's from Canada, Canadian, Native Indigenous practices, and I just started pulling it together. Mm-hmm. And not until this gentleman, his name was Levi, said, Erin, you have to start doing it for money. You're doing this for free. You're not exchanging it. Yeah. I almost pooped myself. Like, I have no degree in this. No one should pay me for this. And I was like sweating, freaking out. And he said, okay, how about this? You have to give, and it was somewhere, I can't remember now, it's between 10 and 20 people, free readings. But after that, you have to charge. And I think I was like, all right. And I went through, I called him in a week and a half. I'm like, all right, I'm at whatever the number was. He's like, you're already done? I couldn't stop it because people were like, I do one. And then people were like, oh, this lady's doing free readings. So they just kept coming. Yeah. And then before I knew it, they're like, what are you? And it took me, I'm telling you, like years to give myself a name because I was like, I don't know what I am. Mm-hmm. And originally I used Oracle cards. And that was and then all of a sudden in readings, I just was like, I don't need these. I would end the session with it. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how I launched into it. And since then I have done, Enduring Virtue was in the work, Rodley Valentine, Reiki. I went to Brian Weiss. I'm trained in past life regression. So I'm dipped in many things, but I follow the ones that get me excited. Like, ooh, can I go learn this? Yeah, cool. That's awesome. I bet you weren't expecting that answer. Well, no, but I love that so much. Yeah, like that was, I could talk to you for hours just listening to all your stories. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about how, how your intuition shows up, guides you in your business. So yeah, maybe this is where we can go into, because there's different clairs, like clairaudience, claircognizance, clair, what did I miss? I only got two, like 5 of them, right? Yeah, clairvoyant, yeah. Clairvoyant. So why don't you talk about the ones that show up for you? So what I see, when I sense someone, I automatically, there's two, it's like pieces. So I automatically get a sense of, do I feel safe? Do I not feel safe? I think children that go through trauma build that in themselves. And I know, Bethany, given, so I get through that. And then I need a little bit of exchange. So I usually say, okay, I need name and I need your astrological sign. I don't know why. But when you tell me, let's say, Bethany, you said, oh, I'm dating a guy named, Tony. Well, Tony doesn't bug me. If you said Tommy, I'd be like, ugh, Tommy, why? Ooh, man boy, Peter Pan. Like names have energy to them for me. Yeah. And I believe that as souls, we pick them. So, and then astrological, like sun sign. Yeah. And then what I do is it's audio, it's words, or it's pictures. And usually it's words. It comes in quickly because I'm really, my language skills are pretty good that they're really connected when I read people. And then that makes sense. What did you say? You're an air sign, so that makes sense. Because it's all about communication. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. So that's clairaudience. So when you hear it, that's clairaudience, just for totally. Really clairaudience. But now that I'm in my right brain, I won't remember any words. I'm like, oh, all right. Right, when you're channeling, Totally. Yeah. But then when it comes to medium work, right? So when I connect with someone who's passed, and I usually need someone to tell me, like, if they want to talk to a dead person, I need you to tell me because so much comes to me. It's like lanes. Which one do you want me to walk down? Then I see pictures. And I'm like, I see this, and this is what I see. And I'm sometimes the most confused one in the communication. The person who's passed is not confused. The person who's hearing me is not confused. I'm just like, does this make sense? Anything? Is I love you. And they're like, yes. And I'm like, okay. And you're like, I feel like a puppet. And I have to constantly tell myself whatever I get. I'm like, just say it. Just say it because they're going to be fine with it. And I'm the only one that's like, this sounds so stupid. Yeah. I probably, and the other thing I get too is I get emotional. When I'm coaching people, I can be me in the way of I can sense them and I can have my emotions. When I connect with people that have passed, like it becomes this like, I love you so, like I like want to, like I feel like it's Ghost the movie, right? Like I'm like, oh, come here, I love you so much, and I'm like,
Yeah.
stay where you're, like sit on your hands.
Chill.
I get a lot more emotional, and if you ever come into my space, there's box of tissues almost in every corner because I can't decide if I'm gonna cry or they're gonna cry.
Yeah.
So that's so it's that, and it's and sometimes, what's the one when you're feeling it? You feel something.
Clair sentient.
Sentient, yeah, thank you. Clair sentient.
Yeah.
It sometimes health issues or emotion, like anxiety, certain things, I'll feel it or I'll see it in the body. Now, here's one thing. I'm not a good medical intuitive. I can't see crap. I could just, inside bodies, I'll be like, it's gooky up here. And they're like, I don't know what's up here. I know there's bones, but I'm like, and I'll refer people constantly. And that's one of the things I think I trust there's an abundance in everything. So I have so many people I refer out to because I'm like, okay, and they'll come back if they're meant to come back to me. But I have an intuitive, she's a not really medical intuitive, medical healer. And she's also a nurse. So she could say, oh, in your clavicle behind the right discus, she'll tell you, right, you have energy built up. And I'm like, I don't know what it looks like. It looks like crap there.
It looks like crap. It's gray up here. I don't know.
It's tar. They're like, and then they're like, I have tar in my shoulder. I'm like, oh no, it's not tar.
It's just how it's showing up for me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So that's kind of how it comes up. And but I want to acknowledge that some of my clients really use my intuitive side. Some of them like to see me just as a coach. So I have clients where I work with couples. They know that I'm an intuitive, but but I can tell energetically they like me to lead with the life coach, not as much of the intuitive, but they get it too. And I'll say things like, this is what I sense, this is what I'm feeling, or here, I could picture, are you picturing this right now? They're trying to say something. So I do both. They're really all the same to me. But if you asked any of my clients, some might say, oh, she's a coach. And then some would say, no, she's intuitive. And I'm both.
Yeah. I
let them identify.
Just 1 second. I apologize. I'm being interrupted by a little person.
Oh, yeah.
Roxanne, if you have a question, go ahead. This is real life.
Do I have a question? Well, one of the burning questions that I've had that's been coming up for me is with these more feminine kind of, intuition is part of the feminine energy. And one of the challenges for me and for a lot of the women that I'm in contact with, and men too, who have this intuitive sense, who are, a safe space for people to be vulnerable. And then we're in this masculine-based or masculine-centered business space, marketing to us in a very linear fashion, in a very this is the way kind of thing. So I'm always curious how someone like you navigates that feminine quality in this masculine kind of framework.
Yeah, no, I think, and there's two things. One is I think that I also believe in the right brain, left brain. Right brain being that intuitive, creative, instinctual side, and left brain is the linear, the problem solver, like the calculator, the assessor. Right. So what I really work on, so when I'm working, I'm so right brain. I'm like, this is like structure is out.
Offline.
Yeah. You can even see, I will even lose words. So for me to think clairsentient, I'm like, oh gosh, what's that word? If it does not come through, I'm going over to my left brain. It's like I have to shut one door, go into another. So totally.
Yes.
So I think it's a total, and I think artists, certain people that do this in other formats and industries understand that we're going to be speaking their language right now. Oh yeah, how do you do this? I've done a couple of things. I put structuring. So I'm the queen. So I got nicknamed, it really used to piss me off when I was a child, Tom Sawyer. And the book Tom Sawyer, remember when the painting the fence? And he's like,
yeah, you get everyone to do it for you.
Yeah. So I am the queen of delegating if I can, or outsourcing. And how I've been able to really build my business is I have an assistant who also does most of my marketing. I work with people that, I don't want to be the expert. So I just talked to someone about credit card processing and website yesterday. And he started talking. I said, okay, we've hit my threshold. Here's what I need. And then I don't try to pretend I understand it. I go with my gut, and I go also like pricing too. I look at like, what do you offer? How much is it? And I go, okay, got it. You're my person. And here's what I need. I need you to assess this. I am not good at these things. So I find people that enjoy working with me that can allow me to stay over here as much as possible. I collaborate with a lot of people, and like I'll be doing a vision board class with an artist, and she has to do the structural side because I'll read people and I'm like, and she sees it. She's like, after 2 or 3 readings, she's like, oh, Erin's gone. And she's just like being with people. And that's kind of like, I'm very upfront about who I am. And I put as much structure as possible, like almost like insulate myself. Now, for some people that are going, okay, I'm new at this business. That's great, Erin. You're paying people. Like, how the hell do I do this and I don't have a lot of money? I really invite people to partner. Like, I've brought people, I traded skills for a long time. Like, hey, would you come and, I call it back of the house. Will you be my back of the house? So if I'm going to do a big group reading, I'll give you an hour session because I'm going to take 2 hours. I'll look at trading. Is there any, I tried, and they're like, yeah, because people sometimes can't afford to come to me. So I look at trading or collaborating to get the things I can't get, bartering. And I think in our industry, people are really willing to barter. Yeah. You know, I look at hairdressers. I didn't know, I was talking to my hairdresser before I got into this. I was like, wait, you get a massage every week? She goes, yeah, because I do my masseuse's hair. And I was like, when I have a skill, I am trading the shit out of it because I want all this stuff.
Well, before money was invented, that's what we did.
Totally. Yeah. So I barter, and I'm very comfortable. Like, it takes practice to get used to know. Like, oh no, that's not what I do. But I bartered a lot, and now I do it a lot less. But I still might do it for here or there, you know. So that's kind of, I think it takes, and I use as much as I can infrastructure that I know from working in a corporate world, as much as I can, and I apply it to my business to help me kind of keep that structure alive. You know, like one thing I have a tax guy. I really looked at how much money do I have. I hate doing taxes. It makes me anxious, takes me away from my business. So that was one thing. I looked at things that I hate doing, and I was like, okay, how do I do this? And I would have bartered that too. Like, hey, you do the taxes, I'll do free reading, or you want to give your wife a reading? Yeah, like that's a great Christmas gift. I'll tell them I'll read them. Your wife really wants this. Like, okay, great. And I did. I actually did barter a tax guy for the first 2 years of my business.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever, you know, I think that just being like, if you're meant for it, the universe wants to help you.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like being open to that flow and maybe doing things a little untraditional. But hey, if you're calling yourself an intuitive coach, people anticipate whatever's coming next is not going to be traditional.
Yeah.
Awesome. Did that answer your question about business? Was that enough? Like, yes. Okay.
Yeah. Totally. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I missed half of it, but I think I got the gist.
Okay, good.
Okay, so I think it would be really fun now to go into you reading Roxanne and I. So
I would love it.
How does this work for you? Like, do you want us to have a question for you, or do you want to just kind of dive in?
I think it's funny because I feel like Roxanne needs to give me a question. You can do either, Bethany, but you can give a question too. I feel like if maybe you both do a question, and what I'll do is I'll do that, and then I might add an element that you weren't expecting to it. How about that?
Okay.
So I want to start with Roxanne. Is that okay if I start with you, Roxanne? Roxanne's like, all right.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally.
So what I know about Roxanne is that you're a Capricorn sun sign, and you are a Sagittarius rising and a Gemini moon. Okay. All right. We talked before. Okay. So, putting you on the spot, what's one, and you might find that I might ask you like, oh, if you're like, oh, I want to talk about my child, or I want to talk about this, I might say, what's their name? If you know it, astrological sign,
Oh, yeah.
that helps. But what's the area of your life you want to talk about? I'll tell you what, okay, you go first. I already have one, but you go.
Well, my life purpose, my business, money. Yeah, I'm in transition right now, so there's a lot of open doors.
Perfect. Are you married? Are you in a relationship?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I feel.
I am married.
I just want to make sure because I feel like I feel rooted, married, but that's my interpretation of married. Good. I wanted to go to business with you too. That's what I sensed. Okay. I get the sense that, would you say what you work on now, what would you say brings in the most income? Because you're definitely like, I see 4 hands, which is in 4 different pools. So you're doing
I have 4 jobs.
Oh, do you really? Okay.
Yeah.
Which in the world and in your business, which one brings in the most income?
My administrative operations position, which I just recently quit, and then they asked me to come back, so I came back, and I'm trying to quit again, but I keep hanging out there.
Okay, so we're gonna put that for a second, and then which ones out of you want to grow, and which one brings in the most clients? Like, which one is kind of has the most flow to it? Because I have to identify that, then we can go back over here to the administrative.
Well, I taught movement for quite some time, but I just took a break from that. But that's probably the second piece that I, until very recently, have spent more time focusing on.
Yeah. Because you're a Capricorn, I feel like anytime a Capricorn turns a faucet on of work, it flows. What's the one you want to grow? Is it the coach?
My own personal coaching and writing. I'd like to do more writing, be able to work and travel and change people's lives.
Okay. Here's what I see. The administrative, I feel like, is staying there. Here, for you, more money means more autonomy, more, you could be more fluid in your movement. Like, oh yeah, but when you turn money off, I feel like I get a little like rusty. And it's not like fear-based, because I feel like you've done a lot of work on that. It feels more like it's like if you want to take a bath and there's not enough water in the tub for you to enjoy the bath. Like, I would love for you to do a little bit of work. You're going to figure it out. It's not that hard. It's going to be a little bit of work on your own about money and purpose being in sync with each other, because, and money being like, it is a natural, you just attract money. So just, money's meant to come to you easily, wherever you put effort. So just imagine that you have like whatever the work you do, it feels like, I don't know if you're doing a guided meditation, but it feels like something that you might even go back into your repertoire. Like, oh, I can do that. Oh, I know what I can do. And it's going to show that money can flow in any of those boxes that you want, or I keep seeing faucets, right? Administrative assistant, I feel like you're being too Capricorn-y around this, meaning that you're like, they want this, I need to give this is how it looks. I say negotiate how you want it to look. It could be, I am on LinkedIn and I constantly get, I'm an administrative assistant remotely. This is how it looks. Would you be interested? As the only kind of administrative assistant I would ever want. I don't want anyone next to me. I like my freedom, and I think they know this about you because you just get shit done. So what I would negotiate time and freedom with them. And I think you actually will enjoy it more. I feel like if I can get 2 people in the room, one gets a little like, oh, I don't know if we do that. It gets a little funky. But there's another person that's like, oh, like we can make this work. So does that make sense?
Yeah, very much so. I have negotiated the position that I'm in now. Looks very different from the way it started. So
okay.
It's
do you
just
have to go in the office at all?
I do right now because I'm training my replacement.
you're training a replacement. You're also going to be asked to come back in. Just tell them that you'll come back in as a consultant. Like, oh, absolutely. Here's what my fee is. And they're like, oh, there's a fee? Oh, like, what is that? And what that does is you get a little bit more money. I see like an additional 30% because you're just coming in, you problem solve, you'll coach, like just tell them a little bit like, hey, absolutely. So what I can do is remotely consult. This is what and you just say like, this is what I do with other people now. Like the more you own it, like it's already happening, it flows through you a little bit more. And I feel like they're always going to need you a little bit. So just get it to work in your favor. I don't know if this replacement's going to be as good. So I don't know if they're going to last and they're going to want you back. You get it. Is it a woman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I feel like, I just don't know if she's getting paid or she's definitely, no offense to her, but she's just not at your level. It might just be from experience. But so they kind of are hoping that you'll take your personality brain and just stick it on her. Ain't gonna happen.
This is number 2. This is the second person I've trained.
You're not getting rid of them. They're getting rid of them. Yeah. They're like, that's not what I want. So what you can do is say, hey, I'm always here. If this works out, great. If it doesn't, we need to talk again. And then what I would do is if this one doesn't work out, you say, okay, here's what I'm willing to do. I'm willing to do these things and you're going to hire an assistant. I will keep my finger in the pie, but I need to be this consultant, this level, this much. And you're going to have an assistant who probably makes half as much as you and does all the work. So you're going to like negotiate yourself up. You're probably going to have this job, I think, for a very long time. But I think it works because it grounds you because now we're going to go over here into these other jobs. Does that make sense? Writing,
totally.
Okay. The writing is secondary. You got to let writing, it feels, trust your intuition. But I feel like writing's behind the scenes. It's like a play, the way I'm seeing it. And it's the backdrop, but the front, and I'm seeing it like an audience member. I'm not seeing it the way you see it, like the play in its entirety, like from the music, the actors, the backdrop, the lighting. And I'm saying the writing feels like it's in the backdrop and more is, it's coaching. What is it about that you are really here's what your intuition. It is I don't know what you're charging. I feel like your energy needs to grow a little bit more. Like I went to a healer and I was talking about an event I did and I said, I could tell I blocked stuff. And she goes, oh, you weren't able to hold the space. So it was actually the retreat Bethany came to and taught at was a 5-acre space. She goes, your being wasn't able to hold the space for it. And I was like, oh, because I was like, why didn't I have more? I didn't sell out, which I was like, why didn't I sell out? I want to sell out, right? And she said, your being is not holding it. So for you, I would say your being in the coaching is not. So I would do a couple things. I would maybe potentially drop your prices or bundle. Because what I want you to do is I want you to use your intuition. You're not turning that sucker on. I feel like your Capricorn's like, well, this is how you do it. This is structure. I want to be like, got it. It's like reading the rules, not just go play the game. You're like, hold on, before I shoot to score, let me read the books. Okay, crap. I'm supposed to do ABC, and that is not you're actually meant to. That was there to kind of give you the structure, but you're not there to keep referencing it, right? Like you got the best way you're going to get it. Now you're going to be in play with other clients. I do think you do really well with, it's so funny, intuitive fitness. It's mind, body, and you like what feels right. Like getting people to connect with movement, but like what feels right. Like I think of my dad when firefighter, he was a runner. And then he went to his doctor. He's like, this. He's like, you got to stop running. And my dad was like, what do I do? And he's like, there's a lot of sports out there. My dad was lost. I'm just going to get chubby. Like, I have nothing. Like, what am I going to do? And if he had someone that was like, you looking at, said, wait, okay, let's do some like body. Like, what serves you right now? What does your body want to do? You feel like mind, body, spirit, but lots of times you come in at the body. But you get people to trust their their spiritual, like what serves me? How do I move me? How do I do it naturally? Because people are always trying to do things to like lose weight, or it's like they have to, rather than, oh yeah, you know what? Swimming's my jam. Or, oh, yoga, right? And you really encourage them not to do anything that doesn't feel right to them. That makes sense?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. What's your husband's first name?
Eric.
Eric. And what's his sign?
Taurus.
Oh, okay. I get professionally he can make more money, but he's kind of not stepping out, allowing himself to be seen as much. Does that make sense?
Very much so.
Okay. Use your intuition when you do your meditation or whatever to get the right language around it. Because I feel like you've cheerleaded, you're like, hey, whatever works. Like you've done different stuff, but I get that he has gifts that need to come out in his work, and they are going to make a difference, and he will financially see, he'll financially see it. So use that too. You have to come from your intuitive self, not your brain, not like there's something there that you can play with a little bit. It feels like all of your family. You can play with your intuition a little bit more, like, and you don't need to tell them, like, I'm connected with my intuition. Let me just see. It's like, blah, blah, blah. And I think it'll, it helps you kind of move yourself over here more. Like, when you said, like, before the show, we were talking about, like, you being able to channel. You're like, my intuition's there, but sometimes I feel like it like just drops in. Like, I can't like pull it down. When it comes to your loved ones, that's almost the easiest place for you to pull it down. So that's my invitation. I think it'll help you in all these other baskets of work you're doing, boxes, whatever I said. Make sense?
Faucet.
Yes. Okay. All right. Any questions before I go to Bethany?
No, it's funny because I've been working exactly what you said. I'm sure Bethany, I saw you laughing over there.
Yeah, I was like, this is so spot on, knowing Roxanne, like, it's so spot on.
Yeah. There is one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you go. I talk a lot, so yeah.
There's one other little piece that has been missing in my life that I always hesitate to mention because it's so close to my heart, but I'm a performer. I'm a musician, and I ended a 20-year relationship with my musical partner about 4 or 5 years ago, and it's just that hole that I cannot quite fill.
What do you do? What's your performance? Is it an instrument?
I sing and I play flute and penny whistle, but really singing is and writing music is what I'm missing the most, and performing musically, vocally.
I get that. So I went through, I call it a business divorce about 3 years ago. And for me, it felt like a divorce. Like I got like, people were like, oh, it's not like you divorced your husband, or, I'm like, it traumatized me. It had wounds. There was grief. Okay. So I'm going to give you a quote that I just heard who I loved. Are you two familiar with Glennon Doyle?
You introduced me to her, and so now I follow her. Yeah.
I'm in love with her. Okay. Just in finishing her book, Love Warrior. And
yes,
that name of her book didn't make any sense until literally the end of her book. Cause I was like, Love Warrior. Okay. There are many things going on here, but I didn't get it. And one of the things the thing she just said recently that I read was, let me make sure I've got this right. Grief is the souvenir of love. And what I see with you, Roxanne, is that you're like, oh, I'm in the grief of it, like a loss, rather than I know how to love and I know how to perform. And instead of me saying, like, I don't want to do that again, which I feel like is in your energy, I go, I can do this, shows that I can do this. And not only I'm able to love, I'm able to be in grief remember what love feels like and let that beckon me back to love rather than say it's too much, it's too painful. And I want to say to you, the suffering is more in you not doing it than in doing it. And I would invite you, the two things I get is there is, like there's writing circles, like writers get together or writing retreats. I don't know what it is, but I feel like musically writing, it feels like a big, your jam. Like if you're with other people, like, oh, we get together. There's clients that I have that they get together twice a year and they go for like 3 days. They share their writing. Sometimes they write stuff together. They create the structure of what they're going to do. I feel like that's really meant for musically for you. If you can't find it, create it. Then around performing, okay, here, where's on your bucket list to like perform? Like, oh, where or with who? There's something like that, like go into the little girl in you, like, I would love to.
Music festivals are my favorite. Performing outside, big venues where people dance and feel the music.
Okay, that would great because I was like, I saw you like on a street corner. I'm like, I don't think she's playing with a hat of donation for. But I saw you outside, so I didn't make any. I was like, all right, I'm not gonna say it. Yeah. I would invite you to put that in your vision, like a vision board, like create that as an intention and ask that it be effortlessly shown to you how to do this. But here's the thing, what I get is your journey to there is going to look like this, and then you're going to land there. So you're going to be like, well, why would I do that? But it feels like just be trust in this process. Someone might say, oh, I'm actually going to be doing a wedding. And you're like, oh, outside. Well, shit, it's outside. All right, I have to do it. Like, oh, this is happening. So I would invite you to do that. And I don't know if you're there yet, but I feel like also performing on social media, like letting people see it. Be seen. Be seen is what I keep hearing. Be seen in it. I know, right? So do something risky that's trusting in that because you're actually it's that grief. You're coming back, you're allowing yourself to be open to falling in love again. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a lot to think about. I'm glad we're recording this because I'm going to go back and listen to all that.
Yeah. Okay, good.
That's awesome.
Good. And hold each other, like check in with each other because that's one thing that will be super helpful. And here's the last thing I'll say too. As you open up your intuition, those of us who read people, those of us who coach people, I don't care if it's coaching like, here's my coaching book, here's the structure, or if it's intuitively, here's how I'm reading, sensing someone, or with tarot cards. We're asked to be the pioneers of stepping through fear.
Yeah.
We have to do it first, or I swear to God, the karma is going to kick us on our butts because it is not... I want to say fair, but I don't know another word for it. We need to walk the walk.
Yeah.
Long before we encourage others to do it with us.
Yeah, we have to be the model. Otherwise, they're not going to trust that we know what we're talking about if we haven't actually done it.
And karmically, we're going to get spanked in the ass. Like, it's just, I did a class and I swear I turned to someone, I was like, you need to she's like, amazing, intuitive. I'm like, your relationship with your household is effed up. You need to clean that up because you keep coaching people in their households and shit happened. Because she didn't proactively do it, but maybe that's the way it was supposed to be.
Right.
All right. Okay. Awesome. Bethany, you ready?
Yeah. Okay, yes, I'm ready.
Do you have a particular question?
It could go either way, so I feel like I want you to just choose. Like I have two. I mean, the two that are always important. Love and career, so. I
wanted to go love with you. I was
okay, that was my first choice. And I was like, no, maybe we'll just go career.
I was like, I wonder what the other one is. No, okay, love. Okay, how long, because it's really important, I don't know why, how long have you been, and I don't care necessarily, so I'll just share with everyone that I see breaking up, ending relationships, don't always have to have like a legal document, right? Like, you're dating someone, you moved in together, and then like, we're done, but physically I didn't move out until this. Well, I guess you need to give me two. When was the end of your last relationship?
Well, do you mean like
the big one, the love relationship?
Okay, well, I guess there would be, two, because I feel like there was one last year that I was after my ex-husband. So like my ex-husband was like the biggest one, we were together for almost 10 years. And so the divorce was just finalized this year. However, I feel like it was like 3 years ago that was ended when we finally when we actually separated. So that was 3 years ago. And then last year I had a relationship that was maybe like 7-8 months long, and that ended, I want to say, like September-ish of last year.
Okay. Of last year, 2018?
Yes.
Or 2019? Okay.
2018, 2018.
Okay. Okay, so with that I get, because it's super important, because I get 3 years is the time when you can start calling in someone that's at your match. I don't feel like the guy before, he wasn't even on my...
Okay, so you're hearing like, or just feeling my husband.
Yeah, but I do think that I like that you were with someone before, because I think you had to almost like ping pong to the opposite.
Yeah.
Or someone else, does that make sense? He doesn't feel total opposite, but he does feel like...
Yeah.
How am I gonna go through
there? Yes.
What I see, it's funny because I feel like you are so untraditional. What I keep seeing is like someone who's very rooted in their life, a professional. I keep seeing white collar. So when I see white collar, I think of corporate job, a desk. They're thinking. They're not physically doing something.
Mm-hmm.
I also see phone, like a phone. But I see that it appears very traditional, the relationship, but when you go behind the scenes or go behind the door, it feels very untraditional.
Okay.
Like, but there's something off with your picker, so hold on a second. Let me figure what
I would agree with that.
Yeah. I don't feel like you should screen with your intuition until you screen like concrete screening. Okay. You are trying to intuitively screen them, and that's your phase 2 or 3. Okay. Concrete is like, do you have your shit together?
Yeah.
Do you have a job? Do you make more money than me? Like, I think like a significant amount, because to me, people exchange energy in relationships. Like, so I have a friend, and her husband made a ton more money than she did, but he had no connection to spirituality, and he, like, they exchanged perfectly. She could not deepen that connection unless she felt really financially secure, because she was working her job. Right. And their gift to each other was he provided financially, and then she just like took off spiritually.
Yeah.
Because it was like safe to do so. Yeah. You feel like I want you to like, do you have your shit together? And I actually don't think you're very good at this for a while. You have to actually get him screened through someone else. So it's like, so if I'm your BFF and you're going on a date, I'm like, what are the 3 things you're going to ask him? Okay. And they don't even get to go on a date with you until they get the 3. Like, you have to know, do you have your shit together is like the big overarching thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's, is your little one there?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
It was like shooing him away under the table.
Yeah.
Go away.
Is work, money handled, and he has this sense of self, like he knows who he is. Yeah. He's rooted in who he is, and he likes himself, right? Mm-hmm. And then how open-minded you're okay. I think I found the claps. You think you can, you are judgy.
Yes, that's so true.
You think certain men are not open-minded. If you met my boyfriend, he is from the Midwest. He is a insurance agent.
I'd be like, you're not open-minded enough for me.
No, like, and if you were being mad at him, I thought he was in the military. He was so like structured.
Yeah.
But I just asked. I said, well, I'm an intuitive coach. And he had tons of questions. Questions are really helpful. Like, they don't need to understand it. Yeah. They just need to be open to it.
Okay.
Your guy is not from your world.
No, yeah.
He's not, and he's never going to be from your world. Mm-hmm. But 2 things he can do is he's curious about it, and he can create all the space for you to do it all day long. Like, he has no problem. My boyfriend, a year later, has no freaking idea most of the shit I do. He's like, but does he help me set up for events if I need it? Absolutely. He's like, oh, do you need the crystals? Yeah. With that green one you need? Yes, I need the green one. Okay. He's like, yes. And we went back to Minnesota, and he's telling his family, yeah, she's an intuitive coach. And they're like, what? Yeah, like, and they're so kind to me. But, so your picker's off because you're judgy.
Okay.
And I would want you to bring someone in to help you screen them.
Okay.
You screen them from before you go on a date, they have to hit certain things. And then when you go on the date, you're screening. And you and ask the questions. Now you're just going to have to be really direct. Because if you're not direct.
I already am. I feel like I'm getting better at this. Like, I'm definitely, I see myself doing it more.
Yeah.
But I can fall back into that what you were talking about, my old way of doing it. So.
And the 2 things that here's what I think you get thrown by. It's the security being a mom.
Yeah.
Like, I want to take care of my family. And then you get thrown by like, well, maybe I'll be with more that hippy dippy guy. You're not getting the hippy dippy guy. Like,
okay, that's good to know. I think that's where I'm like, well, maybe I need someone who's like, who likes the same things as me. And, like that kind of thing. You're definitely right. And
they could be your BFF, but honestly, you're not going to want to sleep with them. You're going to be like, ew.
That's true.
You like, you're one of those people, and I think same with Roxanne, that we live in the world of intuition, but we're very clear we're having a human experience.
Yes.
And when you're with a guy that's very much in the human world, it makes he's the tree, you're the butterfly.
Yes.
So that's my sense of you, and you're screening when you're on the date. What kind of man is he? Could he be a good role model for my son? That is, you're screening for that, and you're looking for anchored.
Okay.
And I would also think that he has to have a pretty good, decent, if not really solid relationship with his family.
Yeah.
That's something about you. I don't know what your relationship with your family, but I feel like you need that. You need to be absorbed into a community, not like my late husband. He was looking for a community, and I had one. Mm-hmm. So that was but you need to, you're like him. You need to have like people around you.
Yeah.
And especially your son needs, like, he's hungry for that too. And he wants someone masculine.
Oh yes.
He is looking for a dude.
Yeah. Oh, he needs that for sure.
Yeah. And patient dude. Okay, so it's that, and gets along and doesn't get triggered, not jealous type.
Yeah.
Okay, and lastly, I'll end on this, and then you can ask me if there's something else. I say with you can go 5 years younger, 12 years above.
Oh God.
I know. I usually I do mindful dating. So I'm a dating coach that I create. It's a mindfulness. Like, if you're interested if you're dating, but you want to grow inside of dating and become better at it, but also get to know yourself, that's what I do. Mm-hmm. I normally don't like people going more than 10 years above their age, but there's something about your guy feels like a biker, or not like a worm, like a pedal.
Oh God, I could never. No offense. Anyone listening who's a biker.
Active. He feels pretty active.
Okay.
So he might be early 40s or something, or mid 40s, but he's actually body feels like 35, 36. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Do you have any hang-ups with what they look like? I just want to make sure.
No, I don't. I feel like I'm more about energy. Like, I definitely, I mean, of course, yes, you want to be attracted to the person physically. Like, there are some things, but I'm willing to, like, if I am attracted to them, their energy, it's not going to matter what they look like physically.
Yeah, and so what I would do is allow your feminine and wanting to feel protected and understood. That's who should lead the show, not your
protector. The one who
because you don't want to feel stupid. Like, well, the thing is if he makes you feel stupid, you're like, and then I feel like you like become a fighter. Like you're like,
I attack that. Yeah, I attack.
Yeah,
sure.
Like you would wear your crystal just to be like, let's see what they say. Like you almost challenge quietly.
Oh my God.
Don't wear the crystal, because your guy is gonna be like, because then he's gone out on a date with a lady that wore a crystal that's crazy. So he doesn't know the difference.
I know, that's true.
Right? Your guy could even be like politically slightly conservative. But when you talk to him, it makes sense.
Okay. God, this is making me want to. This is making me so uncomfortable.
You're an Aquarius, right?
Yeah.
So my one friend who's an Aquarius, she is so judgy around. She wants an active guy. And I tell her, I'm like, look, I am as fluffy as they get, and I am more active than most of my friends who are half my, like, I can outplank my class. I do classes. Like, I am super active and I'm fluffy. Yeah. So I'm like, what do you want? Do you want to look fit or be fit? And she's like, I want both. I want them both.
I want both.
Watch yourself, like, because if you're gonna look for balance, you do better with a balanced relationship rather than a mirrored of yourself relationship.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, totally.
I really invite you, if you kind of like him but you're scared, you're judgy, the voice is gonna come in and be like, oh, he didn't.
Right. Oh, I'll find something wrong with you. It doesn't matter how perfect you are for me.
Because you're scared. You're like, oh.
Yeah. Like, no, I didn't like him that much anyway, so. Yeah.
Is I would have you go do things. Okay. Go bowling. Okay. Go play pool. Things that you might not even do, because when you're facing the guy on a date one-on-one, it becomes like an interview a little bit with you.
Yeah.
Rather than a flow of energy.
Yes.
Because you're not flowing energy. You're like, I'm
directing it. I'm like, where are we going to take this now?
Totally. And if he's asking you questions, let him direct. Because really what you're trying to see is, can he be in charge so that I could be the butterfly? Right. Like, can he drive the car?
Yes.
Can he pay the bills? Yep. Can he do this stuff? Because I really just want to, like, transform the world. And it does not include paying my cell phone bill. Right? So see the difference? Yeah. And it's not traditional, it's balanced.
Right.
And I am the biggest feminist I know. Mm-hmm. And I get, like, it took me a while to really get that on an energy level, to be that there's a balance of the two.
Yeah.
Not that he's taking over.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I absolutely.
You're probably going to be with a white guy. Just so he feels white or he appears white. He seems kind of abnormally tall. Maybe it's because you're abnormally short.
I am.
But the height difference feels pretty big.
Okay.
And
I see this person's already in my life, or I've met them, or no.
No, are you online dating?
Yeah.
He might have seen you online dating. Okay. But I think you judge. So
probably.
Yeah, you're a little judgy.
I am.
Okay. Roxanne, I don't know if you know some of Roxanne. Someone needs to be in charge of your screen. Like, someone needs to, my friend who's an Aquarius, she won't let me have her. She won't let me swipe for her. I'm like, I would be so good. I do this for a living.
You're going to have to do it for me, Erin, because I don't know.
Totally.
Yeah. Roxanne can't do it for me because she's in Washington, I guess.
No, you send screenshots. You're like, okay, here. Okay. But I would read his bio. He seems like a decent, your thing is, does he look like a decent man that has his shit together? That's all you're looking for.
Okay.
The rest will be in person in the exchange. And how curious he is about you.
I swiped on him already. How is it even gonna happen?
Well, if you're like on Bumble, he comes back around. They just cycle that shit. They're like, give it 2 weeks, he'll be back.
Okay.
So
there'll be some type of
Yeah, and I think that you are gonna need not a lot. How well you work this, it's like your intuition. How well you work the not doing what I said, but doing what you know too. Like, everything I'm saying is landing because you know it to be true, and I feel like Roxanne's like, yes. How well you stay inside those bumpers and really work it that way, I feel like you can meet him sooner, but you have to get there. So I'm getting, it could be as late as March. It feels like 3 years. 3 years from your ending it with your husband. But it could go as far as, I don't think it's going to be more than a year. It feels like 3 months to a year.
Okay.
And there's going to be other guys. Like, you're going to be like, hello. Ooh, hello.
It's
So
already
it
like
doesn't
that.
mean don't enjoy it. Enjoy it.
I have guys who come back who I told like, oh no, sorry, it's, I just didn't feel it or whatever, and they come back and like, oh, are you still single? You like,
I told guys, because what I realized was I was exchanging friendships for dating. And here's the thing, we are so attractive to men. Women in the intuitive world, we're like, my boyfriend even says, like, there's something about your aura. The guy doesn't even know what aura is. And he's like, I don't know. You were like, your energy, something fluid about you.
Right.
But what I would advise you to do, because it is a distraction in some ways for you, like, is you could say, look, if this doesn't work out, I say 2 things. And I advise anyone who's listening to this that's in dating. One is you start with saying, I'm here to go to meet someone. I'm not looking for friends. So if it doesn't work out, we're not going to be friends. Are you okay with that boundary? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
If someone's looking for friends, and say, I'm looking for friends, and say that. But if you're not, done. 2 is, at any point, if this doesn't feel right, and you're talking to him, like, please, I invite you, just let me know, and we can end it in that moment. And they're like, is that okay with you? And they go, yeah. I go, great. I'll do the same.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know that they're going to want to be with you. That's just the truth of you. Your energy is really yummy, and they're going to want that. So you just gave yourself, you asked them, but in the same way they agreed with you, you have an agreement now that you can be like, hey, I'm just not feeling it. And I have gone on multiple dates like, hey, I'm just not sure about this, but I'm willing to try it. But if it don't feel, I'm going to be really straight with you. And they're like, Erin, absolutely.
Yeah.
No one has been rude to me.
Good.
Well, that's not true. One guy's a little funky, but that's because I argued with him.
Yeah.
Other than him, I was like, we totally got in this debate, and he's like, oh, this is hot. And I'm like, oh, this is a turn off.
This is not, you're like, this isn't hot.
I was like, no. No. If we're debating about this, can you imagine us dating? Nope, done. Thank you. Good luck. But I think with you, it really helps you put boundaries up. Yeah. With the ones like done, getting them out, because they just flaw. I feel like they just come back, and they like just hang around. Clean it out. It's like being in a jacuzzi, and they keep going back in the jacuzzi. And how do you go on a new date how do you go with a new guy when they're all just bobbing around in the jacuzzi with you? It's like, no.
True. That's very true.
Yeah. Okay.
All
right. Any questions?
No, I think that's good. Yeah, I think that's good. That's pretty spot on.
Okay, good.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
That was awesome.
All right.
Well, that was amazing. Seriously, you definitely have a gift.
Thank you.
So we don't have that much time left, but I would love for you to just share like maybe some of the things you're doing right now, and then how people can get in touch with you if they want to work with you. Or if you're,
Fabulous. So
if you want this experience.
Yeah. If you want this experience.
So what you can follow me. I have my Instagram is The Real Erin Prewitt. So it's ERNPREWITT, or erinprewitt.com. And what I'm doing right now is I have coaching one-on-one, and if people want to sample it, like what we did right now, it was like 15, 20 minutes. You can just buy a sample, or I do coaching where we do a session or a series, depending what you're doing in your life. And then I do mindful dating, and I take clients where I work with them over a couple months to really help them shift in the dating process to the point where it feels like, oh, I could do this. Actually, I'm having fun, and I'm learning about myself. And then I'm going to be doing another retreat. I haven't decided which, the dates aren't drilled yet, but I'm going to be doing metamorphosis, an evolution of your spirit. Nice. Super excited about. I love retreats, so I keep doing
I do too.
Yeah. And then I'm in Ventura, California. So if anyone's close, I'm in the end of this month, I'm doing past life regression to really let go of 2019, the decade.
Yeah.
To welcome in. And then I'm doing vision boarding with the incredible Echo Schumacher, and she is we do art. We move art in with vision boarding. So we do readings, and it's awesome. So it's a little bit of what I do that I could think of. So yeah, follow me. And I pull a card. Like Bethany, it's amazing. And now Roxanne, I'll have to follow you. I'll stalk you. Let me be straight. I'm not a follower. I'm a stalker. When I feel connected, I'm like, what's it? What are they? Oh, what are they saying? And if you're wondering the noise, that's Levi over there.
Hey, Levi.
Trying to be get in the frame. And then I pull a card every day. So card of the day to kind of help guide people. We all need inspiration, some clarity.
Yeah, I love your little short messages. I like that they're short and concise.
Oh, it takes work because you see how I talk. I'm like, ugh. Like my daughter's like, why does it take me so long? I'm like, because I can't. I'm bullet pointing this big thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Erin. This has been
my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you both for having me.
Yeah. Did you have anything else you wanted to say?
Thank you. It was a real treat. I thank you so much for the work that you do, for being so out loud with what you're doing. That's one of the things that I am learning to just like own. Hey, I've got this gift and it's not traditional.
Yeah.
And the more that we've got people showing up and just living out loud, it's so great. It's inspirational, and you're paving the way for so many of us. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Well, you know what? I think one question caught my eye that maybe you could answer is, what do you see happening in your near future? Like, what are you putting
for
out?
Me or everyone in the planet?
No, for you.
Okay. I was like, with me, I keep seeing, it's one of the things that is that I work with people. I want to work with more people. Like I really like small venues where I can read or help people. And I think also I'm really noticing this shift in my work where I'm allowed more in the world of, I'm not a therapist, but in the coaching. I keep getting clients, couples that are struggling. And I think I really have seen where I work with clients a lot that are like, hey, we don't know if we're going to get divorced, or we're really struggling with our teenager. And I work with the three of them, and I'm finding that people are like, you know what I really like, Erin? You expedite the process, because I'm talking to their souls, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking to their trauma. Mm-hmm. It's in there. It's in but I'm talking to their souls and saying, hey, why are you on this planet? Hey, mom and dad, he's on this planet for this. How do you support this? Or, hey, you guys, it's okay. You don't have to stay married. You could co-parent and really find a soul relationship. So I think for me, that's one of the things I've noticed is coming up more and more, is really into that, and creating intimate opportunities for people to kind of step into their own process, their own soul's work, mm-hmm. and living to live out loud authentically. Like, here I am fully world, and I like who I am. Like, I really like who I am. Mm-hmm. And I think the more, as you being woke women, like, to people waking up into like acceptance of who they are, and not just acceptance, like celebrating. Mm-hmm. Like, that is my biggest love, especially at watching women step in their power. I eat that shit up all day long, because there's nothing like a woman who's like, this is who I am, I love me, and I don't need you to validate how fucking crazy amazing I am. You just watch. And you know who does this? Lizzo. Do you know who the artist?
I love her.
I watch her, and she's like shaking her butt in like the mirror, like almost a little like, a little kinky, pornish. Like I'm like, oh, you're really, but she is like, owns her sexuality and all of her, like she's, and I find that I'm like, oh my gosh, we all need a little Lizzo. We all need to be like, whatever that looks like and I think that makes the world a better place. And I'll end with this. The Dalai Lama, this is my favorite thing to share. He was asked, I'm going to say 10 years ago, but I might be wrong. He said, well, people are like, what are we going to do with the world? We have, there's, people have bombs, we have wars, there's religion, and politically we're like divided. What's going on? And he said, it's okay. And they're like, well, what do you mean it's okay? He's like, someone will be able to heal this planet. And these reporters are like, everyone's like, tell us, who can heal this planet? And he said, the Western woman. She will heal this planet. And to me, that's what this is about. We are Western women healing the planet. So Roxanne's saying, I'm really going to live out loud more and more. That's how we heal the planet.
Yeah.
We speak up. We take up space.
Absolutely.
So I thank you both for having a podcast that helps us wake up and heal the planet.
Yeah. Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you. This was amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
All right. Well, if you want to.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
All right. We will see you guys later. If you want to work with Erin, the information will be below in the show notes. Okay. Bye.
Bye.